the main character of an anime can often make or break a show, as well as they are the ones that are most of the time telling the story through their perspective. Well, in today's video, my name is Birthroad, and we're going to be looking at the best written anime main characters that I have seen. Now, remember, this is all in my opinion, so if you disagree, just let me know, and that's totally fine. But let's get straight into it. So here at number 68, this would be no surprise if you are a returning viewer of the channel. We have Hojo Tokiyuki, to me one of the most unrealistic and one of the worst main characters in all of anime. Now if you don't know, this anime is based on a true story, and while obviously it doesn't have to follow the true story because it is an anime and it can do whatever it wants, it just genuinely makes no sense. This little kid is a better sniper, swordsman, better athlete, better spy than the literal military that just overthrew the regime. How is that even possible? That makes no sense. I don't care if it is, made up world, different twist on the story. It's stupid. It's just dumb. Like, no kid is that strong. It's dumb. I hate it. And you would think like, if you haven't watched this, you'd probably think, well, then it must be a kid show. And if it was a kid show, then I could get it. They kill people. They cut their heads off. They show bloodbaths in this show. So I just don't understand. The character makes no sense. In a world where you have a guy going around just killing people by himself, cutting people's heads off, ripping their skin off, a little kid is stronger than everybody else. I don't understand it. It's genuinely horrible writing, terrible character. What else is horrible while we're on 6-7 is that you guys are not subscribed to the channel. A lot of you guys aren't subscribed. Do me a favor, please hit the like button, please subscribe, share, comment. It helps me out a lot. I upload anime videos 3 times a week. Also, I have my Discord in the description. Once I hit 50 members, I will be doing a video with you guys, so please make sure to join that as well. But let's move on to 67, which we have Tanjiro Kamado. Now, a lot of people may be surprised at this. A lot of people may not, because I know a lot of people don't like Tanjiro, just like me. But the reason I don't like him is, again, his character also doesn't really make much sense. I feel like in a world full of demons and stuff, this dude is way too happy with his sister in a box behind him. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense. I also feel like he doesn't grow as a character whatsoever. I think he is kind of boring as well. I think he's a pretty one-dimensional character who just is a nice guy, but it doesn't make sense. I feel like he just doesn't... It's like he didn't feel the tragedy that hit him, and I get like a shock in the moment, but I feel like he just kind of forgets that all that even happened to him and like all the people that he kills and around him or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Tanjiro. It just seems like he is not really filled with any emotion. I just think that there's not really much put into him. Like, his character just seems so fake. Next up at 66, we've got Saiki Kusuo. I forgot how to pronounce his last name. It has been almost a decade since I watched this show, I feel like. But to me, he is just the most boring character in the show, and he's the main character, which is why he ranks this low. I think like literally all of the other side characters are way funnier than him, and he's the main character, so just super outshine. I already am not the biggest fan of this show, but I do think he gets outshined by all the other characters as well, and I do think he's quite boring. And before people run to the comments and be like, well, that's the point of him, I don't care. That doesn't make it good. So yeah, that's why he ranks this low. Next up at 65, we have Sung Jin Woo. Now, I think many people may be surprised by this as well. Actually, I don't think so, because there's a lot of Solo Leveling haters, so a lot of people will hate on it. But I like Solo Leveling, I do. But let's be honest, Sung Jin Woo has literally no character, and I doubt he will get more character, because in the one episode he tries to show some development and some sort of personality. People hated it. In my opinion, that was the best episode, where he, his mom, the stuff with his mom or whatever, but people hated that episode, and to me, like, that was the best episode because he actually showed character. So having any hope that he's gonna grow as a character is straight down the drain. He has aura, sure, but this is literally just a character. Like, there's nothing that feels human about him whatsoever. Next up at 64, we have Jonathan Joestar. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Jonathan, and I know there are a lot of people that really defend Jonathan. I'm a Jonathan defender. I really like Jonathan a lot, so you may be wondering, why is he this low? Dude, part 1 was a setup for Dio. Let's be honest. As soon as Dio was set up, they just killed Jonathan, which is literally how it went in part 1. Like, we did not get to see Jonathan's character really develop at all, because let's be honest, part 1 just wasn't about him. I would really love to see more of Jonathan, but they showed like half of him and like, he's done. Let's just cut it off there. So to me, I think Jonathan has potential to be a fantastic character. I mean, he'll never get expanded on, but he has potential to be a fantastic character, but I mean, really, he just cut his character off way too quickly. Next up at 63, we have Boruto Uzumaki. Now, Boruto in the anime is a little piece of shit. In the manga, he's slightly better, and in Twin Blue Vortex, he's actually a really interesting character. But Boruto in the anime is just a little dickhead. He is super annoying, doesn't really have any good character development. Honestly, doesn't even fit in with the story and what story that really happens in Boruto. There's a whole lot of bad you can say here, but I think most people will agree, so let's just move on. Next up at 62, though, we have Nagisa Shioda. Now, I actually figured out that people are actually really big fans of him for some reason, and I don't really get that. And I'm not even saying that because I think the character is bad. The problem is Nagisa is so outshined, and honestly, there's many people that have watched the show or have heard of the show, and they don't even know that Nagisa is the main character, because when it was coming out, I don't know if you guys remember this, I was watching it when it was coming out, and people thought for the longest time Karma was the main character, because Nagisa is so, like, unimportant to the story. I think he's a good side character, but as a main character, just really, really bad. Like, honestly, so outshined. There's not a single episode where Nagisa ever feels like the most important character. It's either Karma or Koro. Like, those two just take up the screen time and are way more important to the story, I feel like, than Nagisa. Like, Nagisa is just the king of getting outshined, which there are other main characters like that on here, which is why they don't rank so high. I don't think Nagisa is a bad character, just a bad main character. Next up, though, at 61, we have Giorno Giovanna. Now, I think people may be shocked by this, but Giorno, to me, is one of those characters, which we have a lot on here, that don't really face much change. They're kind of the same person throughout the entire story, and they also suffer from being pretty broken and not really having to struggle power-wise either, which is a big thing. I mean, Giorno's first ability, even before he gets Requiem, is still very strong. He's always been one of the strongest and smartest people, doesn't really face any development in the story whatsoever, and overall just kind of boring. He doesn't show much personality either. He's just quick and to the point, which does work for JoJo's, don't get me wrong, and it does work for the part, and I do like Giorno, but let's be honest here, he is kind of a just singular piece of paper of writing. Like, it is so clear to see through him. It's not a bunch of complexity or depth built onto him. He really is the same guy the whole time, and that's why he's this low. And at number 60, these next few are going to be similar cases. We have Kenshin Himura. Now, Kenshin I do have slightly above Giorno because you do get flashbacks of when he was, like, in-depth character-wise and stuff, but in terms of what's going on now, I mean, he's just a former strong guy. He's strong the whole time, smart, and doesn't show much personality. It's basically the same thing as Giorno. He is just literally higher because he has more backstory. Next up at 59, though, we have Senku. Now, honestly, this might just be hate watching, I'm going to be honest, but Senku to me just, man, I just cannot stand this dude. He's supposed to be super smart, and then he shows stuff that makes him smart, but then he, like, I don't want to say he doesn't act smart because that's not a real thing, but his personality is so shit. It's not, like, smart at all. And it's not funny. I feel like in Dr. Stone, they try to make everybody funny, and they do it with every single character. So Senku's not even original, even though he is supposed to be the smart guy. He's supposed to be the smartest guy, so he should be different from everybody else. But he's not, because he spends more of the time just fucking around doing absolute bullshit and horsing around and making dumbass jokes than doing anything else. And they're not funny. They're not funny. And everybody else does them and does the same exact jokes. So the characters are not original and not unique. And I think a big problem, too, is he spends more time goofing off than actually doing science, and that, to me, sucks for the character. I think his character growth is really stunted because he spends half the time horsing around rather than doing anything else, so not a big fan of Senku at all. Next up at 58, though, we have a familiar face. We have Ash Ketchum now. I know a lot of people are going to be shocked here, but this is another character that doesn't really grow, let's be honest. He does have his moments, though. Let's not be mistaken there. He definitely has his moments of greatness and stuff like that, but it took this guy 25 years to win the big one, bro. I think that's the big thing for me is he's low-key a fraud, not going to lie. I think he is very, very funny, and I think his character is good. However, it is just the same the whole time. Now, I know it is meant to be for kids. It is a kid's show, so it makes sense for it to be like this. And yeah, I think Ash is a perfect main character for a kid's show. But if you're comparing him to every single anime, then he is going to rank kind of low because of what he was asked to do. Now, again, this is one where people might be like, oh, well, that's the point of Ash. It is, but that doesn't make it good, right? But let's move on. I mean, he is a good character, though, I will say. He's not a bad character. It's just that's why he ranks so low. We move on to 57 here. We're at Mash Burn Dead. This is another just pretty strong character. Doesn't face much growth from a character perspective, but he does face growth in terms of strength, I feel like, or how to use his strength, I should say, because he's arguably the physically strongest guy actually not arguably, he's the physically strongest character in the entire show the whole time, but he has to figure out ways to use his power differently, right? But I think the real reason why he ranks ahead of a lot of people is because he is just really funny. So a little bit of bias there, but he has a lot of good humor written into him, which is great. And yeah, I mean, but all of these people are kind of in a similar boat. Next at 56, we have Baki Hanma. Baki to me is similar to like Giorno, but he does definitely face more character development and definitely more what's it called, like battle development as well, like strength development. But to me, he just does seem kind of boring a lot of the times. I think the interesting part about him is like the training and all that, but character wise, he's kind of the same dude from the jump, let's be honest. So yeah, that's kind of why he ranks this low. Now, most of these characters I do like. I mean, ever since Giorno, I do like all of these characters. They just are ranking a little bit low. Next up at 55, we have Lina Inverse. To me, she is just very similar to Kid Goku, but like basically a woman. So she faces some growth both physically and character-wise, but for the most part, she's just a goofy little character that's pretty overpowered and just learning how to survive in the world. So that's kind of why I have her here. Next up at 54, we have Goku. Speaking of Goku, Goku stops getting character development once you get to Dragon Ball Z. The original Dragon Ball, he does have quite a lot. And I will say something that does hold back Goku is that Gohan is his son. I have made a video actually explaining why I do think Gohan ruins Dragon Ball, but that's besides the point. Let me kind of explain what I mean by that. Because I feel like the big part of Dragon Ball, or the big story thing or moral lesson, is that like hard work is going to beat talent, genetics. Hard work is going to beat nepotism and stuff like that. Like hard work is the solution. Until they give Gohan the strongest power-up in the show for doing fuck all. So all that's thrown out the window. That whole canon of hard work wins is just wrong. It doesn't clearly anymore. So that it hurts Goku a lot because of that. Because Goku's whole thing, and the reason what makes him a good character, is showing the impossible can be possible, right? But they just throw that all out the window by giving Gohan this bullshit power-up, and then he just does the impossible by being impossible. So, completely ruined Goku's character with that, and completely ruined a lot of people in the show, in my opinion, because they decided to do that. So it's not even Goku's fault he's really this low. Blame Gohan. Next at 53, we have Saitama. Now, I have Saitama ahead of Goku mainly just because he's funnier, and he does have a bit of a backstory where he did have character growth as well. But I do think he's definitely funnier of a character, and he does still go through character development moments now. It's just not very extreme, obviously, with the nature of his character. Next up at 52, though, we have Dante from Devil May Cry. Now, I haven't seen Season 2 yet, so maybe he's even better in Season 2. I heard Season 2 was amazing, actually, but I've only seen Season 1 so far, and it was 8 episodes of him being pretty funny, pretty strong, but it was really a setup season, to be honest. So yeah, he probably goes higher. I just don't have much to say because he was just funny and pretty cool, and that's what they wanted to show in Season 1. Next up at 51, we have Jotaro Kujo. Now, Jotaro, this is another Aura Farmer guy. He does have some character development throughout, but I think he and the next guy, who is coincidentally also from JoJo's, I think they suffer from too many other characters in their part, like kind of carry as well. I'm not saying Jotaro doesn't carry, because he and the next guy have like the best moment at the ending of their show or whatever. But like, for example, in this part, like how many episodes does Polnareff absolutely carry? A lot. Well, that's pretty much it. Or Joseph. I mean, Joseph has a lot of good moments too. So yeah, and I'm not really holding him back because of that, but Jotaro is another pretty linear character. He doesn't really have that much depth to him. He's kind of just straight ahead go guy, just kind of Aura Farmer, right? So that's kind of what lands him here. He doesn't really go through much changing. He's not really all that unique, to be honest. Moving on to 50, we have Josuke Higashikita. I think the biggest problem with Josuke, I think writing-wise, he is a better character than Jotaro, and I think he could be way higher if he was actually the main character. This is another Nagisa situation. Now, Josuke does get the final blow at the end. He does get the final fight that really solidifies him as the main character. But let's be honest, Koichi is more of the main character in this part than Josuke is. I swear Koichi does literally everything until the final fight. It is all about Koichi until the final fight. So I think if this part was actually more about Josuke than Koichi, I do think he could be a lot higher, but he just gets outshined in his own part, again, like similar to other characters. Next up at 49, though, we have Deku. Now, if you know me, you might be surprised I actually have Deku this high because I'm not a big fan of him. But the reason why I do have him this high and I don't have him lower, or the reason I don't have him higher for some people, is he's just really inconsistent. And I think that's the biggest problem with Deku. When Deku is in action mode, when he is in go mode, he is genuinely a phenomenal character. Like, he's really, really good. The problem is, all of My Hero doesn't take place in battles. It doesn't. There are a lot of times where they do have rest moments. There are a lot of times where they do have just training arcs. Because, I mean, like, it's got to be real battle. The training arcs, he doesn't act like he does in battle, right? And I think that's where the real problems lie. How is he going to be the coolest, the most selfless, the most heroic dude ever when it comes time to shine? And then in a little training session, he starts to cry and piss his pants because Bakugo is doing better than him, or Bakugo calls him a stupid nerd, right? Like, that's what I don't understand about Deku. I don't understand how he could be the toughest guy in the world when he's fighting, and then when he's not fighting, he's the biggest baby in the world. I just think, to me, that is such a big night and day thing, which I get maybe some people like that, but to me, it's stupid. Like, that genuinely makes no sense, unless if he's, like, bipolar or something, which he's not. I just don't get it. I really don't understand how sometimes he can be the coolest person ever when it's time to fight, and then he's the lamest person ever when there's not conflict going on. I don't get it. It's just so night and day, and that's the reason I have him here. He could go lower or higher depending on how you value those things, but to me, that's just really what holds Deku back. Next up, though, at 48, we have Jinga Hagane. Jinga, to me, is one of the best, like, kid show main characters. And the reason why is because Jinga actually faces a lot of character development. Honestly, like, there was a time where he was genuinely about to start killing people, like, in the show, because Ryuga slimed his father and pissed him off. The demon was coming out, bro. Like, there's genuinely a lot of character development in Beyblade that goes underutilized. Now, obviously, it's not to the extremes of a lot of other characters, which is why Jinga is only going to be here, but genuinely better than every other, like, kid show main character, because he actually faces a lot of development and is a very unique character. But yeah, obviously it's a kid show, so it's not going to go as in depth as a lot of other ones, but genuinely very good character. Next at 47, though, we have Denji. Now, I have to preface this because I feel like every time I talk about Chainsaw Man, whether positive or negative, you just have haters on your opinion. It's a show where people are going to hate no matter what. So here's what I will say. Obviously, this is just anime only, and I have two reasons that he's not higher. One, he hasn't done a whole lot yet in terms of growth of really either strength or character-wise, honestly. And I get it. The show is brand new. Like, that does make sense. And I do hear, like, he goes through a lot of shit in the manga. So we have a long way to go. I mean, he really only has the opportunity to go up from here, so I feel like it's not really that bad considering the show is so new. And the other reason he is this low and not higher as of now is because he is a gooner. And every time I say that, I get the dumb-ass Chainsaw Man who's like, he's not a gooner, he's a victim. You can be fucking both. How many times does he want to just fuck something or just touch some titties or something? Like, there's so many episodes in the 12-episode show where he wants to do that. Hell, the movie, the plot, none of that would have happened in the movie if he didn't want to fuck something. Like, let's be honest, bro. Denji is a fucking gooner, bro. And I think, to me, that is a bad character trope. Like, I don't like that, bro. Now, I get it. Denji's probably just a reflection of the author, but still, I think that's what holds him back a lot, too. And I don't want to hear the bullshit of, he's not a gooner, he's a victim. He can be fucking both, and he definitely is both. So, yeah, let's move on, though. I think Denji's only going to go up as the show goes on, though. At 46, though, we have Natsu Dragoneel. Now, Natsu, the problems with him is mainly because of the show. The show just has so many inconsistencies, and that goes with the characters as well. Fairy Tail, to me, is a show that has really high highs and really high lows, and that's no different in the character writing, too. Sometimes Natsu is really cool, and even in power-wise, like, sometimes Natsu seems powerful, and then sometimes he seems weak. Like, overall, Fairy Tail as a whole can just be described as very off and on, right? But I think a lot of his cool moments are really cool, and I think more than not, he is a good character, but he does suffer sometimes from just the author, I don't know, going bipolar mode and making half of it good and half of it bad. Next at 45, the real main character of Fairy Tail, we have Lucy. I did include Natsu, though, because a lot of people do consider Natsu the main character, but if I'm not mistaken, Lucy is the actual main character of Fairy Tail. And basically everything I said about Natsu, you could say about Lucy. yeah, I think Lucy's just a little bit more interesting because of her power. I feel like I find her power more unique than Natsu's. I mean, Natsu's is just fire at the end of the day. So I do find Lucy's a lot more unique. Next up at 44, we have Gappy. Now, this is manga stuff, and this is titled an anime video, so I'm not going to explain these ones, but I would just say the reason why Gappy is not higher is because it's hard for him to be as good of a character in the plot that takes place in his part. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on. 43, we've got Lin Ling from To Be Hero X. Not going to lie, he has potential to be a fantastic character. I think he's been super enjoyable in the episodes we have seen him in. That's the thing, we haven't really seen him in that many episodes, which is a little bit crazy because he's the main character, but if you watch this show, you do know that the way the characters work are very different from a normal show. There's not really a main character, although technically Lin Ling is the main character, and I think he's a great character. He's very awesome, but yeah, it's hard to have him any higher with just his non-importance to the story, I guess. So, yeah, hopefully in Season 2 he grows to be a better character because he has the potential to be amazing, so this is kind of potential placement. Next up at 42, we have Atsushi Nakajima. Now, again, this is another character that has a lot of fans, and I don't understand why, because he, similar to Nagisa, is often outshined. Now, there are some seasons that Atsushi is the main character, but let's be honest, most of the time it's Dazai, and then even Ranpo as well, like in the final season or the season before the final one, like... And then even the big bads, like how many times does Dazai take out the big bad? A lot. How many times? Like, Atsushi hasn't even came face to face with Fyodor yet. Like, that's just been all Dazai. Like, I like Atsushi, and I think he's decent as a character, which is why he ranked this high and way higher than Nagisa, because he does show importance. He does have a lot of good character growth and stuff like that, but he's not really the main character. Like, if you just told me if you didn't tell me he was the main character, I would have thought Dazai was the main character, genuinely. And I think maybe many people do that don't know he is the main character. Or if the author was just like, hey, Dazai is the main character now, yeah, I would have believed it since episode 1. Like, Dazai is so much more important to the story than Atsushi that it does drown him out, kind of. I think Atsushi's a great character, but he's not a great main character. I think that's the problem. Next up at 41, we have Ryuko Matoi. Now, I'm going to be honest, I want to put her higher. She does have great writing, but she just genuinely suffers from the show she is in. Now, I don't necessarily think Kill la Kill is bad, but if you were trying to sit here and genuinely tell me the story and plot points of Kill la Kill are good, I am just going to ignore you. The story and plot of this show is incredibly weird, and I get it's supposed to be like a gag thing, but it's so strange because the characters are so well written. But the reason why she can't go higher is just because of the nature of what she is around. Like, she has to do so much terrible shit because that's the plot of the show. The plot of the show is so much terrible shit, right? So I think that hurts the characters, but like, I don't know, this is a what could be if this author maybe made this story not so weird. This could be a generational anime, genuinely, but I think the story is just so weird, it's hard to really have her higher. Next at 40, we have Kirito. Now, I actually do not like Sword Art Online at all, but Kirito, to me, actually was a very fun character. I genuinely really like Kirito. I thought he was great and genuinely a good main character, but I can't put him much higher because, I'll be honest, I haven't finished the show. I dropped it in Season 3. I really enjoyed Season 1, and Kirito the whole time was great, but yeah, I'm going to be honest, not the biggest fan of the show, so he just ranks here. Next up at 39, we have Reki Kaien. This is another show that I absolutely hate. My second least favorite show of all time, actually. But Reki's a fantastic character, and I think if you put him in any other show, man, he really does shine way better. Again, I think he's held back by his show because half the time they're just doing bullshit, and half the time he's not even important to the story, which I'm like, he's the main character, and he's the best character. He should be the most important in every episode, but yeah, no, I think another one that's just held back by his show, most definitely. Next up at 38, we have Alan Walker. Now, Alan Walker, if you haven't seen D. Gray, man, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of people that are glazed this, and they're gonna disagree with me, but I don't care because this is genuinely how I feel. He has some of the coolest designs ever. He has some of the coolest powers ever and stuff like that. He's just very cool. Character-wise, he is one of the most basic characters in all of anime. If you just typed in basic personality anime main character, Alan Walker would pop up, bro. Now, I know if you literally did that, it wouldn't, but, like, he is such a basic character, which I don't get because he has the coolest abilities, the coolest looks, and really a cool importance to the story. but he's so basic. Like, he really suffers from just basic 2000s anime, and that's what he is. He just is a basic 2000s anime character at heart. At the shell, he's way cooler than that, which is why he does go a little bit higher, but man, he's just very basic. Next up at 37, we have Akira Sato from The Fable. Now, this is similar to the ones we had earlier, where he is like, hey, he is overpowered, and maybe not much of a personality, maybe pretty linear, but what I like about the show, and specifically with Sato, is that it's not about him being overpowered. It's actually about him gaining character. Because he's kind of like Giorno. He's very boring at first. He's very calculated. And he's overpowered, honestly. He's the strongest guy in the show for sure. And every single episode, he gains more character. He gains more personality. He gains more humanity. And that's what I think is the magic behind his character, is that it's the OP character that gains character, which is crazy because all the OP characters, why they need to gain shit when they're the best, right? But he actually gains something, which is awesome, which is why I have him this high, because he's basically them, but better. Next up at 36, though, we have Monkey D. Luffy. Now, many people might have him higher, many people might have him lower. I think the big problem with Luffy, and the reason he's not higher for me, and the worst out of the big three, in my opinion, is because of the pacing. Now, I know you're going to be like, oh, that's an anime issue, but I mean the pacing of his development, because people would be like, Luffy faces no character development, which I don't think is true. But if you were to say Luffy faces the slowest character development, I would say that's true. Like, genuinely, there are 12 episode animes that have more character development than Luffy does in the entire series. And the big problem is because of the pacing. Like, it takes Luffy hundreds of episodes to improve slightly. And he does improve, I will say. He does get character development, but it's the slowest burn ever. It is the slowest character development you will see in any anime. And that's because the anime is paced pretty bad. But his character development pacing is also really bad. It takes a very, very long time for his pacing to kick in, and I think that's the big problem with Luffy. I think he gets it, it's just so slow. But now we move on to 35, we have Gon Freaks. I think Gon, to me, the reason I don't have him higher, I think he's great, shows a lot of emotion, stuff like that. I think he's kind of unrealistic, and I don't mean in the sense of, oh, you know, not like real life, but I mean unrealistic to his universe or to just basic human emotion, because his biggest crash out, that moment where he basically gave up his life, the rest of his life, the rest of his future for Kite, doesn't really make sense. He barely knew the dude, and he gave up his life practically for him. I don't really understand that still to this day. I don't understand why Gon was so mad at that. I really don't get it. But other than that, he's great. It's just, I think he's like, his emotions are almost too extreme to feel real, I guess, sometimes. Like, so I think that's the problem with Gon, but obviously not too much of a problem. He does rank pretty highly on this list. Let's move on to 34. We have David Martinez. Now, this is one, I think this is a character that gets misunderstood, honestly. And to me, that's why I have him a little bit lower. I feel like I understand him perfectly, and I feel like everybody else is understanding him wrong. Not everybody, because some people do agree with me, but I feel like the common conception is that, wow, David made these sacrifices. It was so sad, this, and that. Like, he gave up his life for Lucy. That's not at all what happened. Nobody wanted him to do what he did other than him. Lucy begged him to stop. There was multiple other solutions to this, and he does the dumbest thing possible. Now, I do think this does make him a good character because he's supposed to be smart, and he ends up doing the dumbest shit ever. But I think also at the end of the day, like, I don't think he could be much higher because I feel like he's such a misunderstood character. Like, because to me, he obviously didn't do it for Lucy. He clearly didn't. He knew he wasn't going to win. He knew he was going psycho, and he didn't admit any of that. He didn't go out in a blaze of glory like Main did. Like, Main was like, I knew this shit's going to happen, and I'm rolling with it. David was in denial. He pretended he was doing it for Lucy, even though he barely even spoke to Lucy, like, before his decision to do this. Like, he hadn't talked to her in how long? It was like years, was it not? Hadn't seen her in that long. Like, I don't get it. It was so selfish, and I think so many people just misinterpret David. I do still think he is a good character. Like, I think him going from a super smart person, like, he's supposed to be a really smart kid, which they explained in the first episode that he is very smart, going to, like, the dumbest thing possible, I feel like that is a good character, but I do think people overrate it because they do think he was, like, heroically sacrificing and stuff like that. So I think the fact that there's confusion hurts him, and I think the fact that you know, it is just him going from really smart to really dumb. It does hold him back a little bit, but that's why I have David here. I think very misunderstood. Next up at 33, though, we have Sugimoto Saichi, definitely the carry of this show. Don't get me wrong, actually, the story of Golden Kamuy is not really that great, but Sugimoto is awesome. The comedy's great, too, don't get me wrong. The other characters are decent, but Sugimoto, man, he really is, like, he doesn't feel like a character at times, and I think that's what makes a character really good. Now, sometimes he does, obviously, with the comedic factor and stuff, but when it's time to lock in, like, you feel it almost, which I think is great. And not many main characters really can accomplish this. Like, a lot of the ones before him don't accomplish this. Like, being able to express emotion through a main character is really phenomenal. I think Sugimoto does that great. Next, move on to 32, which we have Joseph Joestar. Now, Joseph, I think, could be a lot higher. He probably faces the most character development in any JoJo's main character, but him in Part 4 holds him back so fucking much. Like, Part 4 Joseph is, like, one of the worst characters in the entirety of JoJo's, but Parts 2 and 3 Joseph are genuinely some of the funniest, most well-written, like, most important characters in the show. Genuinely, I think if Joseph wasn't the main Joestar in Part 2, like, there might be 2 other Joestars you could have replaced him with, and it'd been good. I wasn't a big fan of the Pillarmen, to be honest, but Joseph absolutely carried that season. I think you put Jotaro in Part 2, it flops. I'm not gonna lie, I do. But Joseph, yeah, just incredibly well written, just great character. Next, we move on to 31, which we have Satoru Fujinuma. Just a pretty good character. I wouldn't say he really has much character growth, though. I feel like the whole time he is just a super nice guy. I think the growth and well-written stuff comes from him figuring things out, him in real time becoming a detective, even though he's not a detective. Like, he became the hero that the city needed, right? So I think that's what makes Fujinuma so great. Next up at 30, we have Haruka Sakura. Now, I think many people would be surprised he's this high and ahead of so many other popular MCs before him. In my opinion, Windbreaker is not a great show. It's really not. It's pretty mid. But Haruka Sakura is by far and away the best character in that show. He is by far and away probably the best delinquent MC in any... Well, no, because we have one later. But he is just phenomenal. I'm not going to lie. If Haruka Sakura is not in this show is dog shit. It is genuinely terrible. He is such a likable character. He has some of the best growth out of any anime character. He has some of the best personality traits ever. Like, he is such a likable guy and such a character you want to root for, and the only human character really in the show, in my opinion. Like, he carries the show absolutely and is genuinely a phenomenal character. And now we move on to 29, where we have Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto is great. I think the problem with Naruto is he doesn't feel human a lot of times. Like, he doesn't have that human emotion. Now, he does a lot of times as well, but I think sometimes it just becomes bullshit when he just keeps doing the talk no jutsu, I'll be honest. I know people use that as a meme, but me being the biggest Naruto fan there is out there, I'll be honest, there are times when Naruto does seem more like a character rather than a thing with emotion, right? Like, I do feel like sometimes he does stuff just because, oh, that's something Naruto would do, rather than doing something that makes sense, I guess. Now, don't get me wrong, still a great character, still super motivational, and definitely has great character development, but I feel like there's just times where he almost feels like a broken record, kind of, where it's like not really a person, but more of like a character doing something the character would do, if that makes sense. Next up, though, at 28, we have Ichigo Kurosaki. Now, I don't understand the discourse on Ichigo at all. I think he's the best main character in the big three, and for some reason, that's a hot take. I don't understand it, and I'm not even the biggest fan of Bleach. You guys who are subscribed know that Bleach is not really one of my favorite anime. I'm not the biggest fan of it, and I've seen the original. That's it. But I'm not the biggest fan of Bleach, but I'll still sit there and say Ichigo's the best out of the big three for sure. To me, he feels the most human-like character. Now, the reason he's not even higher, and the reason I think people hate on him, is all the ass pulls he gets. He is the ass pull MC. If you want a main character who just is ass pull on ass pull on ass pull, it is Ichigo. And that's why he is this low. But personality-wise and character development-wise, he is phenomenal. He's really one of the best, but he does have to go this low because, man, he just gets ass pulls literally out the ass. Like, oh, need a new power-up? Guess what? Ichigo just, for some reason, is related to this guy, to this guy, to this guy. So he has actually every power ever. And Ichigo also can't die because for some reason he locked in, even though nobody else is ever. Like, he is the ass pull guy. I will be honest. But like character-wise, like personality and all that, he's one of the best of all time. So that's why I think he's the best in the big three. And I just don't understand how it's a hot take to say that. Next at 27, we have Ikichi Onizuka. Now, this is the highest delinquent MC. Now, I know technically in the anime he's not because he's a teacher, but if you don't know, the original manga for Onizuka or whatever, he was a delinquent. Like his backstory, he was a delinquent, so I'm still counting that. Onizuka, I have this high because obviously he feels really human. Now, he's a good piece of shit, if that makes sense, because he does a lot of shit that's like, that's weird as fuck, that's fucked up, he should be put in jail. But at the same time, he also is a very loving and caring dude and actually looks out for a lot of people, which is why he ranks this high. Also super funny. He is a very polarizing character, I feel like. I think that's why he makes it this high, is because he's not, like, he is human, because all humans, we do bad things, and most of us, I hope, try to do good things. And I feel like that's Onizuka. I feel like he fits that perfectly. Like, he's not trying to be the perfect guy. Like, yeah, he knows he's a gooner, bro. He knows he'll do anything for some pussy, bro. Like, let's be honest. He knows that. But he also helps when he can. So I think that's why he ranks this high. Next up at 26, though, we got Mugen. Mugen's very similar to Onizuka, not going to lie. He's just not as weird when it comes to the gooning stuff. Now, he does fall for women like that. He is a chick magnet, too, but I didn't want to say it, but Onizuka, you know, he does go to a supposed strip club of high school girls. So, you know, that's why Mugen is better, because he doesn't do anything like that. So, yeah, Mugen's pretty much the same. He's just not into minors. Anyway, let's move on to 25. We have Maka Allbarn. Maka Allbarn is a phenomenal character. She has some of the most character development out of any anime character there is out there. I just think with Maka, it's something more like, we're just at the point now on this list where the MCs are really, really good. And don't get me wrong, Maka is really, really good, but I just don't have her any higher, mainly because of the ending, I'm going to be honest. And I know the ending's not canon to the manga, so I do hope they remake it. And I have actually bought some of the manga for Soul Eater, so I do plan on reading it. But, yeah, the ending just kind of, it makes me not like her in a lot of ways. That whole bravery thing was dumb as fuck. Like, that was so stupid, and to me, it kind of ruined a bit of her character for me, because she probably could have been higher. Next up, though, at 24, we have Rin Okumura. Definitely the highlight of this show. Rin is a phenomenal main character, and I think you even put like a mid main character in this show. This show is horrible, I'm not gonna lie. But Rin is genuinely phenomenal. The way his powers work, the way his story has gone, his personality as well, man. He feels really human. He feels like a guy you want to root for. He makes a whole lot of sense, which is why I think he ranks as high. Genuinely the bright spot of Blue Exorcist. Next up at 23, LeBron number, we got Yuji Itadori, one of the best new gen main characters there is. And yeah, he's about everything you could want. I just think he lacks a lot of the depth and seriousness, maybe. I don't know. Also, he does kind of suffer from Gojo steals the spotlight for the first 2 seasons. Now, I know after that, it's more about Yuji the whole time, but he does kind of suffer from so many other things happening at once. I feel like he is a great MC, though. And yeah, let's just move on to 22, Taylor Swift number. We have Asta. Now, on my personal list, I'd put Asta way higher. He'd be top 10 for sure, because to me, just super motivational, which is why I do have him this high, is because he's a very emotional MC. Like, you can get a lot of emotion from Asta, which is why I think he's so great, because writing emotion into people is really hard. I feel like he's just a better version of Naruto. I feel like Asta doesn't do things because of, like, oh, Asta would do this or Asta would do that. He feels more human than more of a character than Naruto. I get the Naruto comparisons a lot. Between Asta and Naruto specifically, the shows aren't really similar, but Asta is very similar to Naruto, and I do think he is just a better version, so that's why I have him here. Next up, though, at 21, we have Kiritsugu Emiya. Now, I've only seen Fate Zero. I haven't seen the rest of the Fates, so if you're expecting the other ones, don't. I haven't seen them. But for Fate Zero, I genuinely think you don't have Kiritsugu, the show sucks. Like, genuinely sucks, and I don't think I will watch any more Fates if Kiritsugu was not in Fate Zero. Now, season 1 of Fate Zero, I think many people could agree, unless if you're just like a glazer, that it was kind of mid. Like, it was okay, but it was pretty mid, let's be honest. Season 2, phenomenal. Genuinely masterful. It was so good. The reason why? Kiritsugu. Kiritsugu absolutely carries that season. When he starts to put his foot into the plot of the story becomes phenomenal. Like, in the first part, it's more about the servants and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna lie, they're kind of cool, I guess, but they ain't Kiritsugu. Kiritsugu absolutely carries Fate Zero, hands down, so easily. Moving on to 20 here, top 20, we have Eren Yeager. Now, this is another one that does suffer because of the show, in my opinion, and it's just a bias. I just don't really like Attack on Titan, which is why I have Eren low. I do think, well, I'm not saying he's top 20. I mean, that's pretty good. But I think a lot of people would have him higher, and I do get that, but I'm just not the biggest fan of Attack on Titan, so it's kind of hard for me to put him higher. I know this is biased, and he probably should go higher, in all honesty, but I just can't bring myself to do it because I'm not a big fan of the show. But yeah, if you have him higher, I totally get it. Next up, though, at 19, we have Johnny Joestar. Now, this is another character that, to me, super misinterpreted. People root for Johnny, and I don't understand that. Johnny is literally a terrorist. He is a terrorist. He is not a good person. He is a piece of shit. He is a terrorist. He wants to do things for all the wrong reasons. He is not a good guy at all. He's a terrible person. He's a terrible human being. And I think that doesn't make him a bad character by any means. I think he's a good character, but he's just not going to go higher because people root for Johnny. People are like, yes, I want Johnny to win. Why the fuck would you want Johnny to win? He's a piece of shit. People genuinely think Johnny is a hero. He is not. I think it's just misinterpretation because he is the Joestar. But no, he is a bad person. I think he's a great character, but he's a bad person. And I think the reason he just doesn't go higher is just because he is misinterpreted. Now, I don't know if that's because of the writing or if it's just because of the dumbass fan base. Because let's be honest, even though JoJo's is my second favorite anime and I am technically included in the fan base, JoJo's fans are fucking idiots. They are so dumb. So it could just be the fan base. I don't know. But Johnny is a phenomenal character. He's just very misinterpreted, so I just feel like I can't put him much higher. Next up, though, at 18, we have Kenzo Tenma. I like Tenma. I think he's a good character. Many people may be wondering why he's not higher. Obviously, the big one to me is that, what's his name? Johan is the main cell of Monster, but Tenma is still a phenomenal character. The reason why I have him here is he has something similar to Luffy. It's not as bad as Luffy's, but he does have slow progression. And what I mean by that is, by episode 4, you have ingrained in your head that Tenma is a nice guy. I mean, this is literally a sentence that is uttered probably 1,000 times in the show, but Tenma is a nice guy. He would never do something evil. Tenma is here to help people. He serves the world. He serves the people. That is ingrained in your brain by episode 4. That's not even introduced in episode 4. It's ingrained by episode 4. And I hope you enjoy it because that is his character for the next 20 to 30 episodes. Now, every now and then you will get ones that do increase the plot and do increase his character development and stuff. But there are many episodes in the first like 50 episodes that the whole thing is just Tenma's a nice guy. And I think it's just too much repetitiveness and it doesn't do anything for him. Like, you know Tenma's a good guy from episode 4. Like, that's ingrained in you. He could probably go on a fucking murder spree on episode 5 and you'd still believe he's a nice guy. He had a reason to do it. Like, that's how ingrained it is into your brain by episode 4. And you get to episode 30 and they're still just giving you whole episodes just being like, Tenma's a nice guy. And that's my big complaint with Tenma is like, why? I get that's more of a story problem, but he suffers from it because he's the character it's happening to. So I'm sorry. That's why I can't go higher. Number 17, though, we have Gesicht. Oh my god, I love Gesicht. This is from Pluto. Also, by the way, they're top 20, so any of these complaints are obviously small complaints. They're still amazing characters. Like, you know, if you heard the monster one and you're typing the monster comment or whatever, being like, oh, you just don't get it or you're a hater or whatever. Like, no, I love Tenma. It just, there is slow moments, which does hold him back from being top, like, 10. But next we have Gesicht. I love Gesicht. He is from Pluto. Man, he is like... It's so weird because Gesicht's not human, but he's a human character. Like, it's so weird. Just seeing him develop is really phenomenal. And he's similar to a character that I do have higher, just not to the extremes, in my opinion. But, man, just a really likable guy and a guy you really root for in the story. Next up at 16, though, we have Jolyne Cujoh. In my opinion, the best Joestar. I feel like she's every single Joestar accumulated into one. She has the humor of, say, like Joseph. She has the kindness of Jonathan. She has the serious, locked-in nature of Jotaro. She has... does she have the smarts of Giorno? I don't really know. She has the leadership of Giorno, though. Let's be honest. There she does. Josuke. She's got the prettiness of Josuke, I guess, is what we could say. And yeah, I just feel like she's the best all-around Joestar. And all the hate from Jolyne is genuinely because she's a woman. Like, I don't even want to be that guy, but anytime I get into discourse about why Jolyne's a bad character, they have no reason other than I don't like her, or some will just straight up admit because she's a girl. I don't understand that. Jolyne is one of the best written female characters in anime. She's phenomenal. I think many people could find her annoying by how, like, crude she is, I guess. Like, I feel like that could be a fair argument, but I don't think that necessarily affects how well written she is. Like, she is the accumulation of the Joestar bloodline, in my opinion. Next up, though, at 15, we have Chirio Rokuhira. Now, obviously, no manga spoilers, but this is about to get an anime, so I thought I'd just include it. And all I'm going to say is you'll see why he's this high. Fantastic. Next, at 14, we have Yusuke Urameshi. Yusuke, to me, man, is great. Obviously, some of the best character development in anime, some of the best physical development in anime, some of the best emotional moments in anime come from Yu Yu Hakusho, specifically Yusuke. And man, he is another character that it's like, I get this. I don't really have a complaint about Yusuke at all. I just think a lot of the characters ahead of him are better. But one thing I will say is, he's supposed to be 14, and this dude is like, he acts like he's like 20 something. And I don't mean like, oh, he's like smoking cigarettes or anything like that. I mean like his maturity, he's not 14. Like, I get he goes through shit, but like, this is not a 14-year-old kid, you know what I'm saying? Or like, that's the only thing for me is like, they should have had his age, like at least like 17 or something, because like, bro, no 14-year-olds acting like Yusuke. I'm going to keep it a buck, but that doesn't hold him back at all. It's just I do think the other characters are better. Next up at 13, we have Edward Elric. I mean, one of the most human characters ever. I mean, you can feel through Edward, genuinely. Super great brotherly character. Again, this is another one. I have no complaints. I just think the people ahead are better. Like, I don't know. These next few are just, like, perfect characters in my opinion. And once we get to the top, like, 3, I kind of have those a little bit higher for different reasons. Next up at 12, though, we have Jin Mori. I love Jin Mori. Now, he's basically what Goku could have been. If you don't know about Jin Mori, he faces the craziest development in any manga, honestly. Like, his development is some of the craziest. I don't know if it's number 1, but it is honestly insane. He is such a character to attach yourself to. Like, holy man, yeah, there's so much. I don't really want to explain because a lot of it does come from the manhwa and stuff, and if anybody plans on reading it, I don't want to spoil that because this is an anime video, but trust me, Jin Mori is what Goku should have been. Next up at 11, we have Thorfinn. This might be low for some people, but I'm just not a big fan of Vikings, and I think that does hold him back for me. I know that's kind of stupid and kind of cheap, but he's in this area here where I have no complaints about the character. His character is perfect. I just don't have him higher because I don't like Vikings. Next up, top 10, though, we have Decim. To me, Decim is so good because he shows what humanity is. And to me, that's like something you just don't see much in fiction, is like the representation of what humanity really is. I think Decim represents it perfectly, man. It is actually just amazing. I love Decim. Next up, number 9, though, we have Motoko Kusanagi, probably the best written female main character ever. I mean, holy, if you haven't watched this movie, just please go watch it. I'm not going to say too much because they are making the new one, and a lot of people are probably going to watch it. I would honestly not recommend watching it. They goon her out for some reason, and it's done by the people that made Dandadan, so I guess it makes sense. They also made everything really colorful in a movie / show that's supposed to be really dark. I wouldn't watch the new one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll be really good. I'm hating before it drops, but it looks like shit compared to the original and even Sack, which I haven't seen Sack, but even that looks way better. I wouldn't watch the new one. I'm not going to. I was going to, but no, I'm not. But let's move on to number 8. We have Light Yagami. I think Light is great. The only thing that holds me back is I feel like they don't, like, he doesn't really represent God Complex as well as people think. Because if he truly had the God Complex, he wouldn't feel the need to go off the deep end in the end. Like, I get he just started going insane, but I feel like that didn't really represent the God Complex that well. But again, that's such a small issue. He is a perfect main character. Next at 7, though, we've got Vash. I love Vash. Again, perfect main character, super relatable, super funny. A lot of great moments in the short 26-episode show. A lot of good development, things of that nature, amazing backstory and stuff. Just very phenomenally well written. So good, I even bought the Trigun manga. That big red book right there is the Ultimate Edition number 1. I plan on getting number 2. I plan on getting them all because I love Trigun. Vash is great. Next at number 6, we have Shinra Kusakabe. Now, this is one that I might have to explain because anytime I talk about Fire Force and it's like writing and stuff like that, I feel like people haven't watched the show, or maybe they just are hating, or they don't like something about us they want to hate. But this show genuinely does have a lot of depth to it, especially in Shinra. This is one of the only shows that connects to real life events, including like religion. Like, it's one of the few shows that does touch on religion, to be honest, in such a deep manner. It also touches on, like, obviously politics and things of that nature. Like, it connects so much to the real world. It quite literally connects to the real world in the show, but like even through like its meaning and stuff, like there are so many hidden meanings in Fire Force that connect to the real world that just many shows have never even done before, which is like the big thing for me. And Shinra specifically, I mean, he himself connects to the real world. He is pretty much the second coming of Jesus Christ. That is not even a troll, like he literally is. His character is very well written, honestly, and the fact that he wants to be a hero on top of it as well really holds all of it in really nicely, and I feel like he is a phenomenal character that does get underrated for some reason. I don't know. The hate on this show, I'm going to go on a small rant here, is pretty forced in my opinion. I think the people hating on Tamaki is kind of stupid because then they'll watch a show with a million times more fan service. For example, Bleach has way more fan service, but you don't hear people complaining about that like they do with Tamaki. So, yeah, I think the complaints about Fire Force are normally pretty baseless. So, we'll move on though. I'll stop ranting about that. Next, we have top 5 here. We have Gyro Zeppeli. Now, I included Gyro because in the manga, it does say Gyro is the main character. I know people count it as Johnny because Johnny is the Joestar, but it does say Gyro is the main character, so I'm going to have Gyro on here. And Gyro, probably the best written character in JoJo's, let's be honest. He has the best development out of any character, easily. He's probably the most unique character in JoJo's history. He has the best moments in JoJo's, most likely. Like, if you voted on the top moments from the manga, a lot of his would be top 10. Gyro is just... He's the pinnacle of what JoJo should be as character-wise. Like Gyro, best character in JoJo's, hands down. Next at number 4, we have Ippo Makunouchi. Now this is how you write a dude. This is how you write a dude, not gonna lie. This, to me, like, Ippo is... I was hesitant on watching Ippo because, to me, I feel like sports anime in general are kind of stupid. Because, like, why would I watch an anime about it when I could watch the real thing? But Ippo is a little different. It's not like a lot of the other sports anime. Ippo is phenomenal. It's great because it's about Ippo. Like, he's just one of the best written characters ever. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say because at this point it's just glazing everything. But yeah, he's phenomenal. Next, number 3 though, top 3, we have Shigeo Kageyama, Mob. Mob is the idea of something so simple becoming something so extremely unique. And the way this relates to real life, like, to me, he's one of the most emotional characters in all of anime, if not the most, which is why he goes this high, because he's so human. And I think the way it does that is because it's very similar to real life, I feel like, Mob's character. He thinks a lot in black and white, which a lot of people do. A lot of people think it's just right and wrong, or it's just yes or no. There's no, like, other paths. That's the way a lot of people think a lot of times. And that's the way Mob thinks, and then every time he gets to that road where he has to decide yes or no, or black and white, or things like that, his head explodes because those aren't the only 2 options. But he tries to group them into 2 different answers, and that's not the answer. And I think that is why Mob is such an incredible character, because it really represents what life is like. Life isn't as simple as you make it out to be, and when you try to make it really simple, it becomes complicated. And then when it becomes too complicated to where you don't understand it because you're only computing simple things, it becomes a mess. But if you just go with what you got, you'll be happy, which I think is what Mob learns in the long run, man, is that it's not simple. But if I go with what makes me happy, if I go with what the right answer is in my heart, then I'll be happy. And I think Mob represents that perfectly. Next at number 2, we have Lelouch Lamperouge. Lelouch is basically like all the other, I don't want to say like more mature characters, but he's like all of them combined. Like Light, Aaron, all them. He's basically all of them put into one. He is all them, but better. Like, Lelouch is him. Like, that's the way I'd describe it. He's just all them, but better. But next we move on to number 1. This would be no surprise if you know me. It's definitely Spike Spiegel. To me, Spike Spiegel is the only fictional character that I have ever been like, that's just a real human being. Like, I don't know, like, obviously I'm watching it and it's animated, but like, Spike to me he's real. Like that could be a real dude, and I feel like I relate to Spike the most, which is probably why I think that, like, Spike's the most relatable character to me. But Spike is the most human character in anime, honestly, probably in fiction, in my opinion. He is so human. He is such a human character that he's got to be number 1. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I tried to go through this quickly, but man, I've just been yapping a lot on these videos. I know you guys want shorter videos, and I do apologize because this is another long one, but I really hope you guys did enjoy, though. If you made it to this point, please leave a like, subscribe. I'm gonna head out now. Peace.